Okay, day 3 on the build. The body cavities are all routed, everything's kind of looking relatively cool on there. The Floyd Rose tremolo system is going to be in there, sits really snug. Actually, the templates have been fantastic so far. My only issue is the neck, which I shall show you here. The original neck on this particular guitar is a 24 fret. That's the template for the 24 fret. When you look at the neck carving shape bit, I've just put it on. They're a different size. You can get 22 frets at a 25.5 scale length, or really try and squeeze things in. So I'll just have to work that one out as I go along. It might be this is a 22 fret guitar instead of a slightly more metal 24. We'll see. First thing I'm going to do today is take this big old lump of wood with a bit of ebony glued onto it and turn it into a bit more of a neck shape. So I'm going to crack on with a headstock angle, cut this down into shape, and that's going to give me a bit of an idea of where we're going to sit. Okay, so that's a more manageable chunk now. First thing I want to do is get these edges nice and straight. Now the way to do that realistically is to have a template, put it on top and cut down the edge that's the same size. With these, we stick on templates, poses the problem that you've got nothing to get a nice flush route up against. So instead we use the old Ludia's super glue and tape trick. And what you do, you get your tape on the top there. This is nice, not overly sticky stuff, so it will peel off relatively quickly, but firm enough to hold a straight edge on. So just a typical plumb line gives you a lovely plumb line, spirit level, gives you a nice straight edge. And super glue and masking tape is absolutely awesome stuff, and Luthiery 101 to make sure that you get something stuck relatively tight that's going to come off when you want it to rather than when you don't. So burnish your tape down to make sure that it's nice and sticky. Little bit of super glue onto there. Also a great invention, good old super glue activator. Means it sets ever so quickly and really firmly, and I'm going to get that edge right up against the side of that template. And you have a few seconds just to manipulate it and make sure that you're right on the money. And that is wunderbar. Alright, hopefully you can see what's going on here. So I've got my router table with a flush trim router in the middle there. This is set for the same height as to go and run along my yellow straight edge here. And it's just a matter of trim routing that so I've got a nice square, flush, lovely straight line. Let's do it without the noise. The end result, that being a lovely load of sawdust and a really lovely straight edge. Alright, so that's all cut to size now. That's looking lovely. Now, just gone back to go and measure it and see whether or not 24 frets is going to do the business or not. Now, in fairness, the original design of this guitar was as a neck through, i.e. the neck and central portion of the body was one, and then you add on the wings. So this is a departure from that because the guy that's ordering it, Ian, didn't want that. So just looking at things now, so it's supposed to get a 25.5 scale length. And if I go down the middle of this guitar and just get it in the middle, with the end of the current fretboard directly up against the humbucker cavity. It's 25.5 and perhaps another, what, 1/8 of an inch maybe. Eighth to 1/4 of an inch off. So we've got a choice. We can either see how we get on and see what the adjustability is on that, which I'm not keen on doing because that's pretty much set for intonation, or just move that down by about 1/8 of an inch and I think we'll be absolutely spot on. So I'll just trim off this end here and I think the maths will work out, and I will pay my apologies for possibly doubting that this was wrong. Happy. Right, so let's have a little look here then. I've got my protractor always set to 90 degrees because I'm just lazy and don't have to keep changing it. So I need to nibble just a little bit off there while still having enough room to use the 24th fret. And that to me looks pretty good. Where's my pencil gone? There she goes. So let's just mark that up and see where we're at. So that is going to take off about 1/8 of an inch, just on the end there. So I think I'm going to chop that down, make sure it's all squared and sorted, and then remeasure. Okay, so mild change. What I've actually done here instead is to cut down there, leave it with a bit of the fretboard there, so you're going to get an overhang. So that is thankfully quite out. You can get it in focus. Quite a nice little cut. Happy days. Okay, that little bit of fettling has given me a joint with an overhang there. So as you can see, it's not quite up to the edge there, but and you go square, you'll see that that is lined up very quite nicely with 24 frets on. Cool beans, basically. If I now put the measure somewhere around about there, come on you bugger, that's going to come down at bang on 25.5 now for the fret line. So yeah, so that's cool, and I've even got a little bit of play, so I'm more happy with the mathematics now. And another factor to take on board, I've just propped that up there so as you can see that the fretboard is sat at the height of the body itself. If I put this ruler on there now, you can see that it's absolutely on the money for the same height as the strings. So by the time you've got some strings on there, that's good. You've got a little bit of room. The maths is all beginning to work. So the next part for me to do is to cut the pocket so as the neck will sink in. So I've got my laser on, got it working this time, and I want to line that up with the body with those centerline markers. Similarly, move this into position and line up too. Be very careful not to burn my corneas on a laser. A frickin' laser beam. So that looks marvellous. Turn that off to save me batteries, and what I use are just some little, these are routing templates but they're all the same height, so what I'm going to do is use those to block this in. So if you put one at the back there, one at the side there, you're going to get your shape, and that's the important thing. So I'm just going to get that all set up now. Alright, so I've cut about that much so far, just a little pocket. Let's just see if the bugger actually fits. Right, well that's as snug as a bug in a rug. Let's make sure the bastard thing's straight. And just to prove a point, we go from in between the bridge straight up the guts. Oh, happy doodles. My work makes me happy. So that little pocket has just been put down to depth. If I just measure it up now, so we're on that in there. 25 and a half, baby. 25 and a half.